Hello, I am Peter Okwoche. This is Focus on Africa. A historic day for the United States. Donald Trump appeals for unity following his surprise victory in the presidential election.
I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me.
I'm Zuhra Yunus, live in Washington, where I've been gauging the mood amongst African voters on this extraordinary day.
And people from across Africa are having their say on the businessman turned president-elect.
Let his victory be a good thing for Americans and a good thing for the whole world in general.
Thanks for joining us on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. It's a momentous day in America. Donald Trump, against all odds and completely against the prediction of the polls, has been elected the next president of the United States of America. He was greeted with rapturous applause when he took to the podium to make his acceptance speech. Mr. Trump called on America to bind the wounds of division and called on people of all parties to come together as one united people.
I pledge to every citizen of our land that I will be president for all Americans, and this is so important to me. For those who have chosen not to support me in the past, of which there were a few people, I'm reaching out to you for your guidance and your help so that we can work together and unify our great country. As I've said from the beginning, ours was not a campaign, but rather an incredible and great movement made up of millions of hardworking men and women who love their country and want a better, brighter future for themselves and for their family.
Well, in the past hour, Hillary Clinton has been talking publicly for the first time since losing the election. She told supporters that while the nation appears more divided than ever, Americans owe Donald Trump the chance to lead.
Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it. It also enshrines other things: the rule of law, the principle that we are all equal in rights and dignity, freedom of worship and expression. We respect and cherish these values too, and we must defend them. And let me add, our constitutional democracy demands our participation, not just every 4 years, but all the time. So let's do all we can to keep advancing the causes and values we all hold dear.
Well, let's now join my colleague Zura Yunus, who's in Washington, gauging the reaction to Mr. Trump's election. Zura, what have you been finding out?
Well, yesterday we didn't sleep at all. We went to one of the restaurants owned by one of an East African man. And the mood, to be honest, here in Washington, D.C., as you know, it's a democratic state. So most of them were so optimistic that Hillary Clinton will win. But when the results started trickling in, the mood actually really did change. And some of them left very early. And after the results, most of them were really shocked, were disappointed. The mood wasn't really good. But I spoke to other Africans here who were quite optimistic. They felt like it's okay. They need change. They're tired of the same people all over again. They need somebody else who's not into politics that much. And this is what I gathered.
Such as Florida and North Carolina.
A nervous wait, and then the shock sank in as battleground states began to turn red, and Donald Trump was declared the next president. For many Africans living in Washington, it sparked fears about their future.
I felt shocked, sad, disappointed. My fellow Americans, they let us down because the projection was showing that Hillary could be the first woman president, and that would have been a history, because before, women, even they were not allowed to vote.
We want to wait and see if he's going to act for what he was running for. You know, when he was standing up in the rallies and talking to people about, you know, kicking Africans out of the country, banning Muslims from coming inside the, United States, sending all the Mexicans, down south borders and building the wall, it's really frustrating.
Trump was propelled to victory by the so-called silent majority, those who remained quiet about their support for the Republican candidate until they cast their ballot. That included some African voters. Tanzanian exporter and small business owner Pius Wariko thinks America has picked the right man for the top job and believes Donald Trump's experience in business will help America's economy.
This guy is new, he has his own chemistry. So I was looking for something different in the system. So my opinion is based that knowing the guy, how he survived in the business industry, I think he might be able to bring something on the plate that's new for everyone.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, Trump's gotta go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Trump's gotta go.
But not everyone in America is happy about the results.
Hundreds of people are here outside the White House protesting and voicing their support for immigrants here in America. And they're also refusing to accept Donald Trump as their next president.
Mr. Trump may have won this election, but the real job now lies ahead in making sure America is united and not divided.
Joining me now is a political commentator, Chon Yang. Chon, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. As the polls pointed to a Clinton, how did Trump pull it off?
Well, it's very simple. Trump pulled off because the establishment, Americans today were looking for somebody outside of the establishment. Hillary Clinton lost because of a few points. The first one, I think, and I believe, is that the African-American vote and the Latino vote, we were expecting for that to happen for her. It didn't. If you look at what happened in 2008 and 2012, President Obama won the African-American vote by 97%. Last night, Hillary Clinton had but 88%. Where is those people in the middle, that difference? They stayed home, they didn't come out. The second one is the Latino vote. With everything that happened with, Donald Trump's coming out and speaking against the immigration issues, talking about the building the wall and extra, it didn't stop them from voting for Donald Trump. It was 29% of them that voted for Donald Trump. And if you look at President Obama, he came with 71% of Latinos. Hillary Clinton last night couldn't have but 65%.
We've seen how divisive the campaigns were, and obviously there are so many Clinton supporters. And Donald Trump said that he needs a sort of reconciliation. How is that going to happen?
What is going to happen? It happened with President Obama. It was the same thing, the same division. What you looked at yesterday is the same thing what happened to the president, but on the other side. We were on the other side. Yesterday is like completely on the complete side of it. America, the great thing about this country is that the institutions remain the same, no matter who the president is, no matter who comes in. Even though his politics, his rhetoric was very divisive, I think we appreciate, at least in his conceding speech yesterday when he's coming out for victory speech, that he's trying to bring the Americans back together again. We hope that will happen. If there's another issue that people tend to miss is the millennial vote. Those young people who was with Bernie Sanders and felt that their vote didn't count during the primaries, most of them stayed home, and that hurt Senator.
So very briefly, do you think Mr. Trump will build the wall and ban Muslims in coming into the U.S.?
Ban Muslims, I think, is just an overrated thing. It's not going to happen. There's Muslim Americans like me who contribute into this country who are Americans like everyone else. There's nobody who's going to be able to take them out of here. It's not possible. Building the wall, if it's about the security of the country, we will see what he's going to do. Where he's going to find the money to do it. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when you're building the wall, you're building it against who? Americans, I don't think that's what they need today. What they need mostly is somebody who can come and take us to the next level when it comes to the economy, not divisive and dividing people. And this is the reason why people voted for him, because they are tired of the establishment, the same people again talking about the same thing, doing the same thing, and nothing changes.
Thank you very much. That was Chon Yang, a political commentator here in the U.S. Back to you, Peter.
Many thanks, Zura. Zura Yunus, my colleague there outside the White House in Washington, D.C.